So this is going to be a shorter video than normal, and I'm not going to tell you who I think would win at the very end. I'm just going to say it right now. I think Neji absolutely 100% would beat Chunin exam Saskue. Now, most people think Saskue would win, and I think this is largely due to some of the misconceptions about Neji and the level of power that he displays. So first and foremost, Neji is flat out stronger than weightless Lee. We know this because Lee specifically develops the gates to beat Neji. Now, is Neji stronger than 5th gate Lee? We really don't know, and it's not that clear. Then again, we have people in the Naruto community who say stuff like Neji was shitting bricks when Lee went gates, but this is just another Naruto community lie. All Neji says is, that's Lee, like he's shocked that that is his teammate. He doesn't say that Lee is now stronger than me. He also doesn't say that he can lose to Lee now, like none of that was stated. There simply isn't much evidence that 5th gate Lee is actually stronger than Neji. But for the sake of argument, let's just say that he is stronger than Neji, and hell, I actually think that he probably is. The issue with this is that it still doesn't technically put Saskue above him. Well, I guess you could say that it does on paper, but in practicality, it's simply not the case. Yes, I know that Saskue is objectively stronger than 5th gate Lee. The data book flat out says so, and I'm not one of those people who conveniently ignore data book statements. Saskue is in fact stronger than 5th gate Lee, and if 5th gate Lee is stronger than Neji by implication, it should mean that Saskue is stronger than Neji. Then again, this does not necessarily mean that he would win. In fact, I think that although Saskue is stronger, I think that he would lose to not only Neji, but to Lee as well. And this is because of his use of Chidori, or more specifically, how he uses Chidori. It's pretty clear to me that the only reason Saskue is stronger than Lee and Neji at this point is because of the Chidori, and this is heavily implied based on the conversation during the fight. Guy says that Saskue was as fast as Lee when he took off the weights. Not only that, but Sasuke's taijutsu is an exact replica of Lee's. And Guy flat out says, yeah, this is nice, Kakashi, but you can't beat Gaara like this. Lee pretty much did the exact same thing. What put Saskue over the top of not only Lee, but everyone, including Neji, was the Chidori. So what does this mean? If you've been following me, you get what I'm trying to say. If Saskue doesn't use Chidori, he's not stronger than Neji or Lee. And I think this is very relevant because Saskue flat out says that this jutsu of mine takes time. And simply put, I don't think that he'd have enough time to use Chidori if he's fighting Neji. Yes, Neji sat back and let Naruto charge his chakra, but he was toying with him. In character, I don't think this is going to happen against someone like Saskue, who Neji would obviously take very seriously. And with Neji being a close quarters taijutsu user, I don't see a world in which Saskue jumps back, sits on a wall, and starts charging Chidori and charges down at Saskue like he did with Gaara. Now let me be clear. If Saskue gets Chidori off, he wins. There's nothing Neji or even 5th gate Lee can do about it. If Neji tries to rotation it, Saskue goes straight through it and kills him with no difficulty. And if Lee tries to counter it with the gates, I still don't think it's going to do anything. I think Saskue absolutely destroys it. And then again, this is cemented by the data book that flat out says that Saskue is the strongest opponent that Gaara has ever fought. And this is after Gaara fights 5th gate Lee. The issue with this though is that the argument for Saskue winning is essentially based upon one thing, one win condition, and that is Chidori. And then again, I don't think it's an attack that Saskue has a good chance of getting off versus any of these fighters. So if Saskue doesn't use Chidori or simply cannot use Chidori in this fight, I think Neji wins. In fact, I would think that a lot of people probably agree with me. I think Neji would actually destroy him. Neji was so much more superior to weightless Lee that Lee developed the gates specifically to beat him. And Sasuke's taijutsu is not only the exact same as weightless Lee's, they move at the exact same speed, or very similar speeds. So I guess maybe Saskue might punch harder, but I don't think it does much versus Neji. I think Neji would absolutely obliterate Black Suit Saskue without Chidori, the same way that he obliterated weightless Lee. Now Saskue does have a Sharingan, and this would help him react a little bit, but I don't think it closes the gap. And even if it does close the gap, and they're equals and they trade, Neji's taijutsu would simply do more damage and shut down his chakra points. And he also has fire style, but I mean, Neji can just rotation it. I don't think that Sasuke can do anything without the Chidori. The only way that you could argue Sasuke wins this fight in my mind is, well, one, obviously, then again, the Chidori. But two, is if you can somehow prove that Sasuke without the Chidori is still stronger than 5th Gate Lee, which is just simply not true. I mean, if he was, Guy would have said this, but instead he says that Sasuke is as fast as Lee when he took his weights off. If Sasuke was scaling to 5th Gate Lee in that moment, I'm like 1,000,000% sure Guy would have said so. But he was only scaling to weightless Lee, which then again is fodder in comparison to Neji. Now there is one way that you can argue that Sasuke is superior to 5th Gate Lee even without the Chidori, and I guess you could maybe say that Sasuke before using Chidori forced Gaara to enter the one-tail state, or attempt to enter the one-tail state, and this is something that Lee couldn't force Gaara to do even in the 5th Gate. But this doesn't work for 4 reasons. For one, there was no reason for Gaara to enter the one-tail state versus Lee anyway, because after the final attack, Lee was paralyzed. 2, you can argue that Gaara did so because they were going to destroy the village in that moment. In fact, the attack on the Leaf Village happens like 30 seconds after Sasuke uses Chidori. Number 3, Gaara is very sporadic and flat out crazy. Like, he literally pulls out the one-tails versus Dosu for no reason. So it's hard to say that he did that versus Sasuke because he thought that Sasuke in that moment was superior to 5th Gate Lee. Because then again, Gaara is crazy. And the last reason this doesn't work is because you could argue Gaara was just being cautious now that he knows what to expect. Like, let's not forget that Lee actually almost beat Gaara without the gates. When he used Primary Lotus, he actually would have won. Like, he just conveniently winced in pain, and that gave Gaara enough time to place a substitution jutsu. So maybe this time Gaara's like, okay, so this Sasuke guy is just as fast and just as strong as Lee without the weights. So this time, let me not rely upon a lucky moments, and instead just let me go all out from the very start. And hell, we have to destroy the Leaf Village anyway, so it just works out. It could have just been something like that. Like, I don't think that Gaara wanting to pull out the one tail in that specific moment versus Sasuke prior to him using Chidori is indicative of the fact that he thinks that Sasuke is stronger than 5th Gate Lee. Because, I mean, let's be honest, Sasuke without Chidori is not beating 5th Gate Lee. The curse mark is also a non-factor in this fight. In character, Sasuke will not use the curse mark. In fact, in this point in the story, Sasuke is actively trying to reject Orochimaru's power. And also, if he doesn't have any chakra left, which is pretty likely in the battle versus Neji because he can shut down your chakra points, if he doesn't have any chakra left and tries to use the curse mark, it will overwhelm his chakra network and he will get paralyzed, like he did versus Gaara. So then again, I don't think the curse mark is really a factor in this fight, but I will say, if Sasuke uses the curse mark, he wins. Like, it would give him so much of an amp that it would just propel him way past Neji. The last thing I want to quickly talk about is the fact that Neji lost to Naruto. So a lot of people say, oh, man, Neji lost to Naruto, Sasuke beat Gaara, but we need context. So first and foremost, Neji could have destroyed Naruto. They were talking for the beginning of the fight. Neji didn't really lose to base Naruto. He was way stronger than base Naruto. He lost to a Nine-Tails amped Naruto. And yes, it was a pretty small Nine-Tails amp, but it still was an amp. In fact, like, if you look at what Naruto was doing to Neji and how he was like trading with him, like, I know this doesn't sound like it makes sense. It sounds so bad and so dumb. And the reason this sounds bad and dumb is because of the way that the fights are like choreographed. Sasuke just felt way stronger. But like weightless Lee and like Sasuke, obviously then again without Chidori, would lose to this Naruto. 100%. The fact that this Naruto was like almost outspeeding Neji, the same person who abused weightless Lee numerous times over, is just pure evidence of that. Then again, it's so, like, this fight is so bad, it's just so poorly put together that it doesn't seem like this is true, but it actually really is. This Naruto was actually extremely powerful. I guess one final piece of evidence that kind of supports this is that Sasuke actually fights base Naruto on the rooftop after the chunin exams, and they're like equals to each other. Neji destroyed base Naruto, like obliterated him. So using that, you can kind of come to the conclusion that Neji is indeed significantly stronger than Black Suit Sasuke, then again without Chidori. Now the reason I kind of took away Chidori from Sasuke is not because I'm trying to like downplay him, it's because I actually think that in a battle versus most ninja at the very least, I don't think it's going to be that very effective. Versus Gaara, it worked, but he sat, like, Gaara just literally sat back and put himself in a sand bowl, and that gave Sasuke all the time that he wanted. Versus Neji and versus Lee, I don't think that this would work. Sasuke himself says the Jitsu takes time. So I honestly think that this fight is pretty simple. Like, it just depends on the way that you look at it. If Sasuke uses Chidori, and I'm not going to fully take it away from him because he can still try to use it. If Sasuke uses Chidori and gets it off, he wins this fight. I'm not denying that. He flat out beats Neji. I simply do not think that he would be able to do it. So like I said, a relatively short video. I mean, I've been thinking about this fight for a while now. I've seen some debates on different social media platforms, so I thought I'd give my thoughts. Thank you guys so much for watching yet again. Please consider subscribing, liking. Also, I love reading the comments. Please comment down below, tell me what you guys think about this fight. But anyways, thank you guys for watching yet again. I'll see you guys in the next one.